Many people are very concerned about whether there will be a war at Korean Peninsula. First of all, on November 21st, Kim Jong-un attended the opening ceremony of the North Korean National Defense Development 2024 Weapons Exhibition. In front of the rows of weapons and equipment, we saw intercontinental ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, advanced rocket launchers, attack drones, etc. It can be said that in a very short period of time, the modernization level of the Korean People's Army has been raised to a higher level. Then Kim Jong-un spoke on the rostrum. On his left, right, and in front of him were all various types of advanced-looking weapons and equipment. This scene was quite scary. There has never been such a scene before. In this speech, Kim Jong-un also clearly stated that nuclear war is imminent, and the peninsula has never faced such a serious crisis. Because not long ago, China has just expressed its attitude that it will not allow any disturbances to happen and will not sit idly by and watch China's strategic interests being damaged. Now, North Korea is making such a big fuss again, even saying that a nuclear war is about to break out. Isn't this making the situation more dangerous? Isn't this threatening China's strategic interests? North Korea's actions have objectively brought a crisis to China. But whether they really want to embarrass China subjectively, they are indeed facing some difficulties. As for whether it is for their own interests and not taking care of China's interests, or for other reasons, it is difficult for people to judge. And there is another thing that public have to admit objectively. That is, China has long been with foreign countries. The media has expressed this attitude, that is, Chinese are friendly neighbors with North Korea, but Chinese are not North Korea's father, which is different from the relationship between the United States and South Korea and the United States and Japan. So North Korea does some things that objectively damage China's interests for its own interests, and Chinese really hate it. But sometimes Chinese have to face it. This is a reality. So what are the difficulties facing North Korea now? Some people say that the peninsula has come to this point because of the communication problems between North Korea and the United States and South Korea. The implication is that there is a misjudgment because of the lack of effective communication. This statement is not very accurate because Chinese can see that North Korea launched missiles into the Sea of Japan before, and that was communicated with the Pentagon in advance. This also shows that although Kim Jong-un currently refuses to meet with Biden, but there are channels of communication between the United States and North Korea, and it is not that they cannot talk. Since it is not that the communication is not in place, it naturally shows that the contradictions between the United States, South Korea, and North Korea are fundamental and cannot be reconciled at present. This fundamental contradiction is that North Korea can even give up its political pursuits for so many years for the security of the Korean Peninsula. In a sense, it can even be said that it is the foundation of their country, that is, the unification of the Korean Peninsula. But, on the other hand, Chinese can see that South Korea, supported by the United States, is still unyielding, so now it has become North Korea, which has been accused of threatening South Korea with force in the past. It has clearly stated that North Korea and South Korea are two countries, and South Korea is the most dangerous one of North Korea. Enemy country, but no matter whether it is dangerous or not, enemy or not, it is another country anyway. Then it naturally means that North Korea has to guard against South Korea's threats. But North Korea no longer seeks to unify South Korea. But on the contrary, South Korea's Yoon Hee-yeol has repeatedly stated that when the opportunity is right, he will unify the Korean Peninsula. So from this fundamental contradiction, North Korea cannot accept the defeat of Russia in the current situation. For North Korea and Russia are now on the same boat and on the same rope. Once Russia is defeated, the United States and South Korea will certainly be greatly encouraged. So it is hard to say what they will do next on the Korean peninsula. And for North Korea, if it loses Russia's important support, then everything can only rely on China. But North Korea is also very clear that China is relatively calm and objective in doing things. It is obvious that Russia's defeat is equivalent to losing a safety rope for North Korea. So the fact is indeed so. That is, in addition to the situation we mentioned earlier, if Russia is defeated, then many anti-American countries will be affected in this regard. The North Korean leaders believe that they are now in a relationship of mutual dependence with Russia. This perception will obviously affect their judgment of the situation and the resulting actions. Chinese say that Putin is indeed very smart. A mutual assistance agreement has achieved his goal. As for how the situation on the Korean peninsula will develop next, we can see that the United States and South Korea are holding back. If the United States does not speak, South Korea will never dare to move. South Korea has not fought a war for decades. The United States has no choice but to deal with such a younger brother. After all, in order to protect its own interests, the United States basically does not want its lackeys to have the ability to do things independently. There may be a crisis on the peninsula, but on the other hand, the contradiction between the United States and South Korea has also led to a very embarrassing reality. That is, South Korea may not be able to support this great historical mission on its own. That is, to unify the Korean peninsula. But at the same time, the United States cannot fight this war for South Korea. More than 70 years ago, the United States fought this war for South Korea, and the result was obviously not very good, leaving a lot of embarrassment. So judging from the current situation, North Korea's frequent muscle show has obviously played a considerable effect. This effect not only adds pressure to the United States and South Korea, but more importantly, it also helps Putin scare the Europeans. To some extent, the European masters are in a knot, and they are most afraid of North Korea. For example, they heard that North Korea sent 15,000 troops to Russia, which made them nervous. Now it is reported that North Korea intends to use a rotation method, with a total of 100,000 people, so it is even more conceivable how they are beating their drums. The Russian-Ukrainian war has now entered a new stage. The Ukrainian army can use medium and long-range missiles to attack the Russian mainland, and Putin has also thrown out a new type of hypersonic missile. Now, both sides are trying their best to show their strength, waiting for Trump to come to power for acceptance. Trump is a shrewd businessman, although many Chinese say that he is a person who makes rash comments. He sacrifices himself for big things. But at least he is not a fool, and he still has his calculations to make. Now he is watching this sleeping king constantly pushing the game higher. Yes, then naturally he is very happy. When Trump comes to power, he will have a better position to negotiate with Putin. Therefore, the more intense the fight is now, the more beneficial it may be for Trump, who is about to take office. As for the peninsula, there is really no need to rush.
After watching this video, don't forget to give it thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we post new content. Your support means a lot and helps our team create more videos like this. Thanks for watching.